welcome back to this episode of Motorcycle Track Day Noob. In this episode I'm going to be taking a look at really two things, some of my riding and then what happens after my first crash. So I started off this series loading a bike into a pickup truck, doing checklists on how I think you have to get a bike ready, what types of things I think you have to bring. I mean, this series I started just as a look at somebody that doesn't know anything about track riding, that wants to get into it without really anybody showing them the ropes. So it's only fitting that I now show this part. So
yes, I just wanted to thank Steve again for taking this footage. This is from the third session of the Novice at Road America, so not very fast that we're going right now, but there's still a lot I can take from it. You can see I'm much more comfortable taking left-handed turns. It's interesting. It looks like I'm touching my knee to the ground on several of the left-handed turns, and I've never touched my knee to the ground. Granted, we aren't going very fast, but when you see when we approach some right-handed turns, granted, I'm kind of following right behind a guy, and I know I don't want to, run into him, so I'm not taking him very quickly. But I'm not taking right-handed turns with the same amount of confidence that I am with left-handed turns. I'm taking them much better than I had been in the past, but I'm not taking them with the same amount of confidence, and that's just going to come with time. So this is how you get through the chicane without getting torpedoed. Granted, we're not moving very fast right now. So I'm definitely learning turn 14 is highly important if you're on an underpowered bike, because if you do not get a good release out of 14, you're going to get blown by everybody. And then turn 1, I know that I can take this one a hell of a lot faster. And there's also a bump, discovered it. That's probably the reason why they're going to be repaving Road America. I got to guess turn 1 is part of it. And I got a lot of work to do to figure out how to get a good release out of turn 5 there. And then turn 6 is my absolute favorite turn on this track. Turn 8's a lot of fun too. I haven't been downshifting yet. I was planning to start doing it later in the day because I think I can get a hell of a lot better release out of it into the carousel. And then I was planning to work on the carousel mainly as my turn of focal point. Yeah, I am not great at the carousel here or Blackhawk yet, so that's going to be my big next point of emphasis. And then boom, then it was done.
The bike fared pretty well. I fared pretty well, all things considered. I've watched Crash about, I don't know, 250 to 400,000 times at this point. And while there's probably not a whole lot I could have done to avoid that exact incident from happening, there is a whole lot that I am learning that I can bring to the track, do to the bike, just things that if something like this happens again, if I get up and I'm fine, what do I need to have spares-wise and whatnot so that I can get the thing fixed and have it running in the next session. So I did end up breaking a bone in my hand. It's like right there. So this has actually been a little bit of a struggle to get the front end off, but the one-arm bandit has been able to do it thanks to some power tools and some things that I've accumulated. The gear held up really well. You can see this. I'm listening to the video more and more, and you can actually hear where my head bounces. It doesn't look that bad, but I've been looking to get rid of this helmet for a while because I don't particularly like it. This screen, I can't even find a replacement for it. Like HJC doesn't even have it, so that thing's done. This is where this is the right-handed glove. Well, anyway, I couldn't find anything to even show what would have hit. I still can't figure out what actually broke on my hand, and then in the video, you can sort of see it right at the end, but I actually ended up getting dragged by the bike, and that's where my foot got stuck in it and it ended up pulling me. But all this stuff worked, pretty awesome. Maybe there's some gloves with metal armor on this part, but I'm gonna guess you need flexibility there. So I don't know, maybe I gotta look at it, but all things considered, I think this is the correct hand. What am I talking about? So I don't know, maybe some plate armor could have done something there, but I don't know if that's a spot you normally do it. I mean, it was just probably blunt force. It could have just been well, on the left side, this part that hit it, and in that case, then there's not much I could do about it. So here's the suit. You can see where I slid. Nothing came out here. It's pretty much just cosmetic. There's no holes or anything. So this held up super well. I didn't have any headache, period, on the whole thing. I've even stopped taking ibuprofen at this point. One thing that I've learned since, so I've got, I'm gonna look down, don't look at, I mean, it's just my nasty thigh, but, so this happened, and I didn't know that hip protectors were a thing. So I've since learned that if I zip this thing down, well, I got the back protector hidden in there. There's zippers for hip protectors. I think $20 hip protectors would have saved me from this. Not that this keeps me from riding, it's just annoying to sleep with that night. But that's, I feel like that's 20 bucks worth it. Plus if you hit harder, and the difference between, you know, fracturing a bone and just 20 bucks, that's not that big a deal. So I feel like I should do that. I'm split between Scorpion EX01 Air for my next helmet or an HJC Arfa 11. Both. I don't want to spend more than 400 bucks for a helmet, but that's kind of what I'm down to right now on that. So yeah, what actually, I mean, this is the big thing up front. This thing's all bent, and then the bolt here bent. And so, I mean, the clip-on's tossed, but nothing else really up front got hurt. I wanted the forks off because I wanted to check that everything was straight. And then I figured while they're off, I might as well just replace the fork oil in them. And it gave me a chance to go and look at what I've got inside. And what I've got inside is these generic, what do they advertise? What are they, 41 millimeter Harley generic emulators. I got them 3 turns out. Thing is, I don't know, the front end feels fantastic on this bike. So the only change is that I had a 120 millimeter air gap before, and I'm just going to open up to about a 125 because I wasn't using that much of the travel, but I also know that I have a lot more braking that I can do once I start to get more comfortable going faster, harder into the brakes. So I don't want to go too hard on it. So it gave me a chance to measure my spacer because I didn't know what I had on it before. But besides that, you know, it's a good opportunity to get this done. It was something I was going to have to do this winter anyway, and I just had the rear shock rebuilt. So basically this thing's going to be all fresh fluids ready to go. The frame slider, this was the hero of the day. I had to pull out the drill because I had to bore it out because this thing got bent pretty bad. But this thing, I mean, it kept the engine cases all perfect and everything. This thing just took a beating, and you could see that the sad little bolt, oh, look at him. So I need another one of those. That looks familiar. Besides that, I mean, bike fared pretty well. I'm liking it quite a bit. I just had my caliper out here and I realized these rotors, I don't know if they look blue or not, like if they're burning or not, because I got newer pads in it. I mean, Road America's pretty high speed and you get on the brakes pretty damn hard, but these say 4 millimeter minimum and I'm at about 4.4 millimeters. So I may need to get a new set of rotors. I might be doing that. The Metzler M7RRs, I was planning to run these for the rest of the year, but I mean, they still look like they have a ton of meat on them. But if I'm not going to be able to do another track day this year, I might go ahead and get these changed. I'd really like to do the M9RRs. I just can't find them. They're out of stock everywhere. But I've seen some good deals on some M7s. I like this tire. I really, really like this tire. I was thinking about trying to get the Dunlop Q3 Plus, something like that. But the more I think about it, this tire, it's so confidence inspiring, especially because if it rains or if it's cold. In my first track day of the year, when I got to the track, it was 31 degrees. There's frost all over the ground and everything. And then the one day it was 94 degrees. These have just been awesome. I don't know if I want to stray from these yet. So I'm a huge fan of these Metzlers. I see a couple of them at the track. Not too many of them, but I really, I'm going to stick with them. So yeah, it might be I don't know, might be a little bit before I have anything worthwhile to say, but I just wanted to talk about you know, what I'm learning. Oh yeah, sorry, the other big upgrade I need to do, I'm gonna replace these with Woodcraft rear sets on both sides, and then the big so this is actually a Woodcraft peg on here, but I'm going to replace it with Woodcraft rear sets on both sides, and then I'm going to have spare pegs, spare brake, spare shifter, spare all of that stuff. So if I have go down in a low side and nothing bad happens to me and I just break a lever or break a peg or something, my day's not over. I just get it off, get the new one on, boom, ready to go. Because if I'm wearing the right protection and everything, and I just don't get unlucky with blunt force to the hand and break that bone, I think I'm ready to go within a session or two. I mean, you pay a lot of money for a track day. It's not even just the entry fees. It's all the time that goes into it. It's a day off work usually if you're running something like Road America, where that's the only time you can get track time. You know, food, mileage, all that kind of stuff. So I want to maximize my amount of time there. And then make sure I'm going to be bringing the head lift stand, because if you have to replace a clip-on, because when it goes down, you need to be able to actually drop the forks out a little bit. So then you can get the clip-on off and whatnot. So I'm learning more and more stuff about what I need to take to the track and what I don't need to bother bringing. I need to start bringing my impact wrench, because I needed to actually get that slider off with it. You know, besides that, not discouraged, just excited. I'm excited to get back. Unfortunately, I think this ends my track season in the Midwest. Now, this is supposed to take me like 2 months, or well, they said 3, but I don't trust doctors. I know doctors. I have friends that are doctors, and a lot of them are fucking idiots. And I also know that doctors are super risk adverse, and I'm not. So my mental health depends a lot on me having a good summer to get through the horrible winters here. And I'd really like that last track experience not to be the last one. So kind of looking at maybe a trip to Barber. I saw there's one in November, and maybe that's something I can do. If not, then you know what? Watching it over and over, I just got lucky as hell that was as bad as it was. It really wasn't that big a deal. So anyway, thanks for everybody that's offered me help on this thing afterwards, and I'll see you out there next time I'm out there. If you watch this far, thanks for watching.